can do that. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning in Plymouth, here in the UK, in the southwest of England. Good afternoon to all of you who've joined us in Hong Kong. Thank you very much for joining. I'll introduce my colleague in a moment, but hopefully you'll find this a useful and an interesting session, and it will give you all of the information you need about joining UPIC this coming September. We're really excited about having the opportunity to welcome you. So please do feel free at any point to interrupt as we go through the information if there are any questions you have, or use the chat function if you'd prefer to join that way and pose your questions. Do feel free. So my name is Tim. I'm Tim Gutzel. I'm Director of Marketing and Admissions for University of Plymouth International College. I'm joined by Kate Hicks, who is a student recruitment manager based in Hong Kong. Kate, would you like to say a few words to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I think I've maybe met a few of you before, and if I haven't met you, I've probably emailed or called you. So it's great to see you here. As much as I like to talk about Plymouth myself, I'm very grateful that Toby and Tim are able to join today because they're on the ground and they're going to be able to give you all of the most up-to-date information. And they'll also be the people that you'll see when you arrive. So very excited to hear what they have to say.
Great, thanks, Kate. And also on the panel, we have Toby Joseph Johnson, who is Student Experience Officer based here in Plymouth with me. We're in different rooms in the same building today. Toby, would you like to say a few words to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good morning, all, and good evening from Britain's Ocean City. Nice to meet you all. I'm your Student Experience Officer here. So I will be dealing with all your inquiries before and after you arrive into Britain's Ocean City. Okay. Great,
thanks, Toby. So let's get going. We have a number of slides to take you through, lots of information to share. As I mentioned before, if you have any questions at any point, do please feel free to raise your hand to interrupt, and we'll answer your questions as we go through. But moving on to the first slide. It's kind of the agenda for the next hour or so. So hopefully this will cover most of the things which are important to you. So we'll have a welcome and introduction. We'll go through the services available to our students through the Student Hub. Thirdly, we'll look at accommodation options and how to book. We need also to talk about the traffic light system and still some of the restrictions and requirements that continue in relation to COVID. We'll talk about travel arrangements, how to get to Plymouth, what the different options are. There may still be some questions around visas. We'll talk about the medical centre, how to register with a GP, and all of the issues and opportunities there. Importantly, we'll go through the induction week activities, the welcome talks that we have, and the events that we have scheduled. We'll look at the semester dates to make sure everybody is clear on dates. We'll also introduce you to some of the university's sabbatical officers and to the Students' Union. So, firstly, Toby, would you like to introduce the Student and Academic Services team at UPIC?
Absolutely. So the Student and Academic Services team at the college comprises of myself alongside Dr. Jones, who you get to meet over the orientation week between the 13th and 17th of September, depending on what program you're on. What were our main duties here were the first point of contact for any inquiries that you may have. No inquiry is so small or so big, you know. We've handled so many different situations and we work frequently with international students from all across the world. So there isn't a problem that we haven't seen before. And any new issues, I don't think I won't be able to resolve them. I'm sure a few of you have already received emails over the last few weeks, just with general inquiries about accommodation, about arrival. After this webinar, in the next 7 to 10 days, you'll be receiving a pre-departure guide that will have detailed information about everything that's in this slide. So do take care. And, you know, one thing we always say is no question is a silly or stupid question. It's all a learning curve and a learning environment. You know, we're here to advance your knowledge and transform your lives. So it's a mutually beneficial proposition. On this slide, we're just talking about our opening hours. So as you can see, and Tim mentioned, we are in the actual college building. We are on campus at the university. As we go along as well, you're going to notice that the college is very much in the middle of the campus and in the middle of the city center. So anything to do with transportation is all very limited. Our opening hours are 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's a contact number that you can ring if you arrive or you just want to have a query. And we'll also be providing you with an emergency number, which works over 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you have any emergencies, you can contact us, as well as the student support email at the bottom there. So if you email that, it comes to either myself or Dr. Jones, and we try to respond to your query within 6 to 7 hours at the most, really. The student hub. So essentially, the student hub is located in the university library, right in the middle of the campus, and they are the department that we signpost different queries to. So they've got a welfare team, a counseling team, disability and dyslexia service, student center, and immigration. By immigration, we mean a compliance team. So you have a tier 4 visa, a visa that will run throughout your whole program, not just for the college, but throughout when you progress across to the university. So once you've been successful in all your assessments, you've moved on to the next year, academic year, you're going to have various queries. Maybe you want to do a placement, maybe you want to study abroad. The immigration department will help you with that, help you with any visas that you need to process. If you need to extend your visa for any reason, they're there to assist. Location, location, location. I'm sure some of you may have seen that I have mentioned this thing called Britain's Ocean City. And what does that have to do with University of Plymouth International College? Well, Plymouth itself is called Britain's Ocean City. It's got a population of just under 250,000 people. It has that natural vibrance to it, in the sense that you've got both the city center atmosphere, but you've also got that natural beauty of Dartmoor, which is further north of the city. So you've got nice contrasting pieces of natural beauty, really. You've got the beautiful ocean facing south, and you've got that greenery facing north.
Thanks, Toby. I think also really important to say that Plymouth, that might sound a bit small to you, 250,000 people, but it's also a real regional centre in the southwest of England. So for shopping, for theatre, for cinema, for tourism as well, we always have lots of people visiting, travelling through Plymouth. So it really does have a kind of big city atmosphere in a small compact space. And as Toby mentioned, really easy to travel around the city. You don't need a car, you don't need a bus or train. Everything is really, really easy walking distance. And described by GQ magazine as the coolest little city by the sea. So that's a really positive compliment for our location. And you can see here on the map, you're seeing effectively the centre of Plymouth there. The college, UPIC, is right on the edge of the university campus, which is directly across the street from the train station. So if you arrive by train, it's literally 2 minutes walk from the train station to the college. Everything, as I said, is within easy walking distance. So from the college, you're right on the edge of the university campus. Everything is very accessible within the university. You're right on the edge of the city centre as well. So the main shopping mall is directly across the road, for example. And then you can walk from the college, from the university, through the city centre, just 10 minutes to the seafront. So if you have a lunch break between lectures, you can go and sit by the sea. So it's a really convenient location, really easy to get around, lots of facilities, easily accessible on the university and in the city centre itself. Toby, do you want to take us through the virtual tour?
Yes, I might need to hop on.
Sharing.
And there we go. Welcome to the virtual tour of the University of Plymouth International College. So, and the university and the Plymouth itself, really. So Tim mentioned that we are on the corner of the actual university. I'm not too sure whether you guys can see my cursor, but that is where I am, or where we are right now. Tim is upstairs, I'm downstairs. We're right across the train station. So you can see good central location. At the moment, we are right on top of the university campus. You can see the Students' Union there. You can see the different faculties as well, different buildings. I can tell you honestly, I studied here about 10, 11 years ago, and every year since then, there's been a new facility available to students from different faculties. I think when I joined, this building was just being formed. The year after, this one came. So it's constantly developing. It's a small city in the Southwest, but it's currently improving every single time. So I'm going to just hit over here to the Plymouth Hall, which is a really fantastic location in the city, just 10 minutes walk. Tim mentioned that during your lunch break, you could possibly walk by the sea and have a nice ice cream or have your sandwich or lunch or whatever. And over here, you can see that's just the city center campus. So it's literally 10, 15 minutes to the actual beautiful ocean. If I click here, it gives you an even more lovely view of the actual city and the university itself. One thing to also mention is Plymouth is home to different ferries. So you can actually take a ferry both to Santander in Spain or Roscoff in France. So it's got good transport links, not only just by ferry, you've got the coach, so you can take a bus straight from the local, central airports in London. So Heathrow, Gatwick, you can take a bus straight into Plymouth, or you can just simply hop on the Heathrow Express, which takes you to Paddington and then straight across to Plymouth. The other thing to mention for anybody that loves the outdoors is that Plymouth and Cornwall is home to over 26 beaches. So that's really amazing. Nobody really thinks about, going to the beach in the UK necessarily, but there's so much to explore, so much, natural wildlife, natural reserves, loads of walks. It's all about taking care of your well-being at this point, and Plymouth definitely offers that.
Great for water sports as well, Toby, fair to say. So lots of opportunities for sailing, windsurfing, paddle boarding on the water there. We also in Plymouth have one of the best swimming pools in the country. So proper 50-meter pool with great diving facilities. So some of you may know the name Tom Daley, who just recently won a gold medal in the Olympics for diving. Plymouth is his hometown, and also the pool is where he trained in his early days, building up to be an Olympic athlete. So yeah, great city, but great for those who want the more outdoors lifestyle, water sports, swimming, all of that kind of thing as well.
That's great. And yes, we're just back on top of the campus right now. The other thing to mention, and as we go along the different slides after we come out of this virtual tour, is the cost of living in Plymouth is relatively low in comparison to other parts of the country. So the cost of accommodation, some of you have already filled out accommodation applications, and I'm sure you've had a look and seen that, the price is a little bit, the price is a little bit, it's a lot more affordable than other regions that you've researched. And that's because Plymouth offers a lot of different variety of different types of accommodation. So we also have really premium accommodations. So students that like the high-end products, there are loads of flats and apartments for students in these buildings. This is called Royal William Yard. It's home to loads of different nice restaurants. And as you can see, some students, if you live so lavishly, can even take a boat into school, as opposed to taking a taxi or walking or driving.
That's your daily commute, Toby, isn't it?
Well, and not me necessarily. I leave the Lamborghini at home. It's fine. But yeah, it's a really lovely city. I think one thing you guys will learn to appreciate is when you come here, you're going to meet people from Hong Kong as well. And then you can just have that conversation. It's not just us from the college that are telling you how amazing the city is. You can have people that have experienced it as well and can share the same values that you do. Tim, do you want to hop on back to your presentation? Sorry, on mute. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Ooh. Just bear with me for a moment. There we go.
Yeah, so I mentioned accommodation and the affordability. So as you can see in this slide, this is really good accommodation. When I graduated about 8-9 years ago, I didn't have such fancy accommodation, possibly with a flat screen TV, with the en-suites, with the kitchen inside the room, in the city center, so I didn't have to take any buses. It's really fantastic. Each student that comes, an applicant that takes on accommodation with our provider, Clever Student Lets, also has a complimentary bedding pack. The other thing to note as well is if you are quarantining, they may be able to organize a food pack for you for a couple of days. In the pre-departure guide, we'll have information of how to order food whilst you're self-isolating as well. So more detailed information will be in there. Hopefully will be sent out next week. But you know, if you need any further updates, like I said, please contact student support, contact myself, contact Dave or Tim, and we all be happy to help. Even if you can't contact us, you can contact Kate, and I'm sure she can signpost you across to the right department as well. So like I said, 5 to 10 minutes away from the campus, en-suite accommodation, varies from about £90 a week. A simple online application via the link above will get you a booking.
We work with Clever Student Lets, don't we, Toby? Important to say, it's not compulsory that you book through them, but one of the major advantages of using our preferred letting agent is that they're very flexible around contracts. So you can always make a booking with a contract that will start on the day that you need to arrive and will run for as many weeks as you need to stay. So you won't be held to a standard length contract as some other accommodation providers might do. And then again, just to emphasize that point around value and affordability. So we're saying around £90 a week there, that's a typical price. You can get accommodation in Plymouth that's significantly cheaper than that. The quality may not be so high, but it will still be perfectly reasonable, perfectly decent accommodation. Toby showed you the pictures of Royal William Yard and the kind of the top-notch accommodation that's available there, but still for the very best accommodation with a sea view, you would still only be paying maybe around £200 a week. So that's our kind of range, £100 to £200 a week for the very best accommodation. So probably typically around half London prices for accommodation.
With bigger spaces as well, might I add, which is fantastic. It's always nice to have more spaces.
Definitely. It's great value. That's the main thing to say.
So just to touch up on it, we do have Clever Student Lets as our own approved accommodation provider, but you have the opportunity to actually do your own research and use other accommodation providers across the city. The only main reasons why we asked that is that we've got such a fantastic relationship with them. Should you transfer your accommodation deposit to us, we can have that moved across to Clever Student Lets. And also their tenancy agreements are very favorable. What I mean by that is if you book an accommodation with them, they actually reserve that on a semester basis, so in line with your study period. So whether you're studying from September to December, September to April, that's when your accommodation contract will be for. So that's really truly fantastic, because you don't want to be paying for a 50-week contract all the way from the 1st of September till August, even if you're going to arrive maybe in the middle of September, or if you're going to actually finish your studies in April. You don't want to be committed to the city if you want to explore the rest of the UK. Do you want to talk about the traffic light system, Tim?
Sure. This is something that in relation to the ongoing pandemic, it's just really important to keep an eye on what the different regulations and requirements are. You'll see a web address there. That's the most reliable source of information about the most recent requirements. As Toby said, it's organised around a traffic light system. In the UK itself, most restrictions have now been lifted. In fact, all restrictions have been lifted. When you come here, It may not necessarily look that way because a lot of people are still wearing a face covering in shops particularly. But I think really what that means is that people are adopting different habits post-pandemic, and perhaps habits which will be more familiar to you in Hong Kong than they are to people in the UK, because I know typically people in Hong Kong have worn a face covering if they have a cold, or just to try and prevent the spread of infection, and that's historically a part of your culture much more than it is ours. But yeah, essentially just keep an eye on the travel requirements, any quarantine requirements which might apply, because these change regularly.
So we've got different ways of you getting from London or any other airport all the way to Plymouth. One thing we do have is our airport pickup service. You can book this via the link provided there. Like I mentioned, and I've been going on about throughout this whole presentation, a guide will be available with most of all this information in the next 7 to 10 working days. So please have no fear, you should be receiving this very soon. Once this booking has been completed on the online form, we will send you a confirmation email, and the driver's details will be provided to you. At this point, they'll hold a signpost up for you with your name, and then you can liaise with the driver. I believe he has Wi-Fi on board the actual taxi all the way down from Plymouth, so you can communicate with your parents or your loved ones that you've arrived safely in the UK and are on the way to the Ocean City. So aside from taxi service, you obviously got the train, like I mentioned, and the coach. Different prices, the prices may vary depending on what mode of transportation you use. The train fares go anything between about 22 to 35 pounds on the Heathrow Express. And the actual train from Paddington, I think a return would be anything between 60 and 100 pounds. Please have a look at the different websites. So the train line, National Railway line, GWR, for any discounts. In some cases, you may be able to book in advance, which may save you a little bit of cost. The coach is also very reasonable, and it goes directly from Heathrow all the way to Plymouth. It may stop in different cities around the southwest, but it comes directly to Plymouth as its final destination.
Thanks, Toby. Do we have any questions to this point? We're doing a lot of talking, sharing a lot of information, but do please feel free to turn on your mic and ask any questions you have, or just drop them into the chat. We'll just pause for a moment, see if anyone wants to ask any questions.
So I'll just add that, like, for the traffic light system, at the moment, Hong Kong is on the green list, so there should be no quarantine required, especially if you're flying directly. But you do have to book your test. You have to have a test done in Hong Kong, and you have to pre-book your test in the UK that you'll take 2 days after you arrive. So just make sure that you get that booked before you get on the plane. Thank you,
Kate.
Thanks, Kate.
So BRP, what is this? So when you get your visa, and when you've applied for, you've paid, you met all the requirements of the college, you've received your acceptance, you've signed it, you get your CAS document, you've applied for your visa, you get what you call a vignette. A vignette is inside your passport. It's a stamp that shows the dates that you actually got your visa and the date that you have to use that vignette by. It varies anywhere between 2 to 4 months. So within those 4 months, you need to travel to the UK and use that vignette. For any reason, if you don't use it within that time, you need to communicate that with us. Like Kate said, Hong Kong is on the green list, so there shouldn't be any reason why you shouldn't make your journey across. But if there is a problem, please do communicate with us, and we may be able to assist you. But when you arrive in the UK, the immigration service or the UK border service will stamp that actual vignette. At that point, we'll need those details. So if you could just scan or take a picture, some of you use iPhone, Samsungs, just scan, go to the notes page, scan that across and email it to me. also, we'd also need you to email the UKVI reporting at plymouth.ac.uk, the one highlighted on this actual presentation. It's very important to do so because this is the compliance team of the university. You are essentially on their license. And what that means is that you have to adhere to their rules and regulations. And one of those rules or regulations is when you arrive in the UK, you need to forward all that information across to them. So they need to see a clear passport data page. They need to see the vignette in your passport, and they also need to see some other information for your address, and at which point you'd be able to collect your BRP. Your BRP is your biometric residence permit. So it's essentially your visa card. It's going to have all the information you need. So when you go back home, maybe over holidays, and you come back in, you use that for entry as well as your passport. Okay, so it can be used as another form of ID. If for any chance you're under 18, you may need to contact me, and then I may follow you across to the post office to help you pick that up because you are a minor, and I am an approved person to pick it up. Police registration. I believe quite a few students from Hong Kong, on their vignette, you would see that you'd have to register with the police within a number of days. Luckily, Hong Kong is on the green list, so you don't have to quarantine for so long. So you still will have that time to do so. The address details are on this actual slide here. Like I said, don't panic. You're going to get a guide with all this information on. So please feel free to use this when you're trying to look for the police station. As we said in the virtual tour and on the campus map, it's all very central. So that actual police station is only a 5-minute walk from Central Campus. And when you go there, you just follow all the instructions on this page, and you'd be able to register and get your police registration certificate. But you need your BRP first.
Toby, do you just want to pick up on the accommodation question that's in the chat?
Yes, I am happy to do so.
The question is about...
In the beginning, I've paid $850 for accommodation as a deposit because Clever Students Nets need to pay me $6,000. Now I need to subtract the $850 from the $6,000. Yes, that's correct. One thing I would suggest though, Kachi Liu, is that the $850, £50 of that is an administration charge. So I would actually subtract 800 from that 6,000 and then pay the difference when you arrive. Okay.
Great, thanks. And then moving on to the University Medical Centre. So you can see in a picture there, the University Medical Centre is right in the heart of the campus. To register for the medical centre, you actually need to register with a GP's surgery, and you have the web link there, and you can, I think, register online. But it's quick, it's easy to do. And once you have registered, you have access to the University Medical Centre and all of the other health services in the UK. Toby, anything more we need to say about the medical centre?
Yes, so some of you may, I think I've seen a few queries around the vaccine, which is onto the next slide really. Once you've registered at the medical centre, you will have the opportunity to be able to be vaccinated here. So in some cases, some of you may have got your first jab or waiting on a second jab back in Hong Kong. You are actually eligible to have your second jab here. You just need to have the details from your doctors of which jab you took the first time to ensure that you're getting the same dose, if that makes any sense. If you haven't been jabbed at all, you can come here and get jabbed within a 6 to 8 week point as well. I've seen another question. Will the PowerPoint be sent to us by email? No, not the PowerPoint itself, but a pre-departure guide that has the information about the PowerPoint. Okay.
What we'll also do is send everybody a link to this recording. So we're recording the webinar. We'll send you a link to that. We'll also post that recording on our YouTube channel and send you the link to the YouTube channel. And then you can also look at all of the other videos we have on there, which hopefully will also be informative and hopefully even entertaining. So we have lots of question and answer sessions with other colleagues in the college that you'll meet when you come here. So please do, we'll send you the link. So please do feel free to go and check that out as well. Important point on the vaccination, just to emphasize, If you have had one dose so far, you can get your second dose in the UK once you've registered. Well, you can actually get it without registering, but you would then have to go and ask to be vaccinated. Once you're registered with a GP, a general practitioner, a doctor, and a medical centre, they will reach out to you and everybody who's registered with that medical centre to offer vaccinations if that's still required. And as far as possible, that vaccine will be matched to your first dose. So whether that's AstraZeneca or whichever manufacturer that is, the attempt will be made to match the second dose to the first, and it's free of charge.
Enrollment. So good job on this subject, because I'm the one that's going to be enrolling you when you arrive in the UK. So it's for an undergrad student, your enrollment week is between the 13th and the 17th of September. For postgraduate students, you're the week after. To complete your registration, I'm going to need those documents right there, everything listed as a bullet point. So anything varying from your passport, your national ID card, your English language certificates, if any of you have done IELTS, and your academic documents, those are your school certificates. The originals will be what we'd need, alongside your visa, your phone number, an address, and an emergency contact detail. Whether or not you're an adult or minor, we still need all that information. Okay. Sorry, the one thing I forgot to mention that is between this orientation week of the 13th and the 17th, it's very important. And as you can see on the top there, you need to complete your enrollment with us before you attend the welcome talks. So there are a series of welcome talks that the university is offering between the 13th and the 17th from Monday to Friday. During these times, I suggest that you come across to the college or contact me via Zoom. We complete your enrollment, you get your timetable, then you can enjoy the rest of the activities for the week. And Tim will go to the next page and we can run through some of the things that are going on. So on a Monday, as you can see, there's going to be relaxed sessions every day. It's very important that you guys take care of your well-being. By relax, we don't mean lazy and staying in, sleeping in until 1 p.m. in the afternoon. We just need, take a rest, sit down for a minute, enjoy the actual environment. There's going to be shopping tours and campus tours. And there's also going to be a first aid for an anxiety session. So if you're feeling a little bit, secluded, you've taken a long journey, it's your first time out of the country, you don't really understand people around, this session's just meant to make you feel at ease, welcome you into the community.
Yeah, just to back up what Toby says there, we do appreciate, but it's a big challenge. You have a long journey. You may not have spent time in the UK before. It's a big adjustment. So we don't underestimate that, but we are here to support. So any help that you feel you need, then please do feel free to reach out to us, to any of us here in the college, because we've been through it ourselves. A lot of us have studied abroad in the past. So we do appreciate that it's a big challenge. We also know that you will settle, you will have a happy and a successful experience here. But the first days, it can feel a little bit daunting. So yeah, exactly as Toby said, that relaxing isn't just about taking it easy and being lazy. It's actually about just giving yourself a chance to breathe, to take a step back, to appreciate there's a major adjustment that you're making, and just to get yourselves into a good place then to push on and to be happy and to be successful with us. Day 2, more relaxing.
Day 2, more relaxing. Like we said, the campus tours available again, shopping tours. What's that? Free food? Yes, everybody loves free food. I know I love free food. I'll just speak for myself. But yeah, enjoy a light vegetarian lunch and a free ticket to the arrivals lounge. Very suitable for vegans too, so we cater to everyone. We've also got a pastoral and spiritual support team that you get to meet at the drop-in session. And they've got a nice, lovely Labrador, I believe, that is going to be part of the actual staff. And they're there to just make you feel a little bit welcome and talk to you about the different faiths that you have. You don't even actually have to have a certain religion. It's open to everyone. There's a medical student welcome. So for some of you who may be doing our health and human science programs, when you come, you can speak to someone in the medical field, see what their experience has been, maybe in placements, and just get their review of how they've enjoyed their journey here.
What's your arrivals lounge, Toby?
The Arrivals Lounge is located central. It's right by Drake's Cafe, so it's literally down the road from the college. And
Right,
it's
center of campus then.
yeah, so it's in the center of campus in the canopy, and that's going to be Arrivals Lounge for all international students. Obviously, essentially come to the college first, but then before you progress there, the reason why I say that is the Arrivals Lounge is predominantly for the university direct students. So you're going to have students from all over the world. So you don't want to get too confused. That's why it's important to come to us in the Foundation College to just try and ease you in. Okay.
Toby, we have a question in the chat. I will arrive on the 10th of September. Can I do the enrollment before the 13th of September?
No, so the reason why we say between the 13th and 17th is that our actual systems that produce your timetable are only open within these periods. When you arrive on the 10th, which I believe is, by my calculation, is the Friday, you have the weekend to settle down. You can do shopping for your accommodation, get your bed sheets sorted, get your pots, your pans, you know, buy some books, go for a walk, do your own investigation and your research of the city, and then come afresh on Monday to just complete your enrollment.
How long does the enrollment take?
Enrollment doesn't take very long. When I do it on Zoom, I have done over the last year or so, it's only taken between 30 minutes to an hour. As long as you have all the documents, it can be completed even faster than that.
And are you expecting to do most of the enrollment on Zoom or in person?
I'd like to do it in person because I think it's a better way of developing a relationship, understanding where people are from, and just making them feel more welcome and at home within our college environment. If we have to do it on Zoom for any reason, if maybe you're showing symptoms of COVID or you're feeling unwell, or you're just, maybe because of transport, you're not able to come into the college, maybe you're in London, we can do it over Zoom. It's not a problem. But I do stress that we complete that between the 13th and the 17th. The earlier, the better.
And then moving on to Wednesday, more free food.
Yes, more free food. As you can see, there's a campus, I say campus, there's a shopping tour and campus tour. Again, there's more free food with a tea and cake. There's the International Student Society. So you're going to learn more about the Students' Union and how to join different clubs and facilities. There are going to be people there, there to tell you more about the services they offer. We've got the well-being support. For any students that might be having any mental health issues, they can come there and have a chat and speak to the professionals about whatever they might be going through. We've got the International Students Advice Team, like I mentioned earlier, that deal with your immigration queries. And we've got a prayer flag making meditation evening. I'm not really too good from a creative point of view, but if that's interest to you, please go and get creative, learn something, learn a new skill.
No free food on Thursday. Oh, yes, there is free food on Thursday as well.
There's free food on Thursday. Yeah, definitely. And there's also like meet our local police diversity officer. So that's a little bit varied from what went on. As you can see, there's a shopping tour again. Living in the UK, the British way. So this one actually talks to you about British culture and what people are like, how they behave, just to understand the environment that you're in. I think it's very important. Also the academic culture as well. So all about the rules and regulations, the information around plagiarism and how you can't just copy work from the internet and submit as your assessments, or you might be breaking some rules. Introduction around Students' Union, and also information about volunteering. So if you want to give back, if you want to find some job opportunities, all that will be available during the Thursday session. On the Friday is more personal to the college. So what we do is we have our own inside welcome talks. So that's where you meet the college management team. So that's Tim, Peter McDonald, who's our college principal, and Dr. David Jones, who's our head of teaching and learning. He's the person in charge of your program. You can get details about the modules you're going to be studying. By modules, I mean subjects. So some of you might be on a standard foundation program for September all the way to April, and you're going to be doing about 4 modules each semester. Each module will be tested in different ways. Some of them will be only assignments, and some of them might be exam mixed with coursework. So they completely vary. And at this point, you get an introduction to your student portal, how to join classes in person or online. And it doesn't stop there, not just from Monday to Friday. It's not just orientation week, it includes the weekend. And look at that. I remember somebody getting an email from someone asking about badminton sessions. So there you are, you know, on the Saturday, you got a taster session with the badminton club, you got basketball taster session. So bring your trainers and turn up, get a drink, and yeah, give it a go. We've got our own on-campus university gym. I participate in five-a-side of futsal on a Wednesday and Friday. And I know Tim loves a bit of squash. So that's all available to different students and also staff members. You know, how fantastic is it that you have an opportunity to play a sport with possibly the lecturer that's going to be, you know, teaching you for like a year or 2 years. You know, what a way to build a relationship. I think that's very unique in itself. You know, that helped me when I was studying here myself. So hopefully it's to be valuable to you as well. The other thing
we also have an opportunity at the weekend, 2 opportunities to do a harbour boat cruise. So that's a 2-hour cruise, but we'll take you from the Barbican in the city centre out into Plymouth Sound, which is the area of sea right in front of where we showed you before on the virtual tour. It will take you up the river estuary. You can see Plymouth from the sea. Which is a great perspective to have, and it's a really lovely way to spend a couple of hours, as I know many of you will be familiar with from doing a tour around the harbour in Hong Kong, which I've done myself, which is a lovely thing to do as well. A movie night as well there, Toby, and at the weekend, and more shopping tours. So anything that you find that you need, don't feel you have to bring everything with you, because everything is available here in the UK, whether that's bedding or you want to buy a rice cooker or any other kitchen utensils, everything is available here, and we'll take you on a tour to show you where you can buy all of the different things that you might need. So don't think you have to fill 5 suitcases with everything and bring it with you.
I'm just replying to a question in the chat, just bear with me. If you want to run through that. Tim.
What you're looking at there now on that slide is the important dates for orientation, arrival. As we mentioned before, your accommodation starts on whichever day you want to arrive, if you book that through Clever Student Let. So your first day on your accommodation contract will be your arrival day. I think most of you will be joining us to do a foundation leading to an undergraduate degree, in which case the orientation week for that starts on Monday, the 13th of September, and teaching starts on Monday, the 20th of September. For those of you who may be joining us to do a pre-masters program, the orientation is a week later, so starts on Monday, the 20th of September, and postgraduate classes start on Monday, the 27th of September. The last day of orientation for undergraduate is the 17th, the last day of orientation for postgraduate, the 24th of September. And then we also have details there about fee deadlines. So the accommodation fees balance is due when you arrive at UPIC. The fees for the semester starting in January, the deadline for that is the 19th of November. And then going through to the end of the year, the exam week is the 13th to the 17th of December, and the term ends on the 17th of September. So really important to make sure that if you are going to go home for Christmas, please don't make any plans to travel before the 17th of December, because we don't want you to miss any exams by traveling too early. Anything else to say there on the dates, do you think, Toby?
No, you've mentioned the most important things. The other thing to stress, I would say, is probably make sure that you are completing your enrollment within those orientation programs. Do not exceed that, because you don't want to find yourself wanting. There is an opportunity not only to complete your enrollment face-to-face with myself or my colleagues, but also the ability to complete that online. So you shouldn't really have any excuse to miss any of those sessions.
Just one thing, it's how long is the Christmas break normally? When would students have to be back by?
So exactly about 3 to 4 weeks. So if it ends on the 17th, the orientation for the next semester would probably be the actual between the middle of the month in January. So yeah, it's about 3 to 4 weeks holiday in between each semester. So that varies from December to January, that varies from April to May, and that also completes it from August to September. So the Students' Union, they're listed just as they're standing. So Charlie on the left and Madeline on the far right, with both Fauzia and Emmy Dowse in the middle. So they are your sabbatical officers. I'll give you a bit of history. A student actually who progressed from the college last year was the president of the Students' Union. So if you think about that from a perspective of the number of international students in a 30,000 capacity university, the fact that, you know, a student that attended a college of up to maybe 150 went on to become the president of the Students' Union, not just by them putting themselves forward and applying, but being voted by their fellow peers. So you can really make a difference, and it's completely up to you what you get out of this service that we're trying to deliver here. There's also a varied number of clubs and societies available, so you can speak to any of these four. They will be available at the orientation week, so you can have a chat with them and you can form your own club, you know. It's really fantastic and amazing to have that kind of opportunity. And yeah, we just finish off by our contact details. I do apologize. I made this presentation. I put coordinator as opposed to manager for Kate, but she's the European Student Recruitment Manager. And she's alongside myself and Tim there with all our contact details. So if you need any updated information or you just have any queries, please feel free to contact us.
Yeah, absolutely. That brings us to the end of the slides. So, Kate, is there anything else you'd like to say at this stage? You're on mute.
Nope, that's been fantastic. I wish I was going to Plymouth now, but I'll have to make do in Hong Kong and try to get more students for January.
Well,
just one more question in the chat box is, will the lessons be online or face-to-face?
So what we are moving forward from this academic year, we're doing what we call a dual delivery. We used to have online blended delivery, but this semester and academic year is a dual delivery. What that means is every class that is going to be face-to-face naturally will also be streamed online for students who will be studying from different destinations around the UK or around the world. We do stress that students arrive here as soon as possible, but also one thing that's added now and one thing we've put forward is it's giving us the opportunity to save these videos. So even if you attend a class normally during the semester and you miss one, the session is recorded and you can go back and access that information. It's actually a good revision tool for when you're going for exams and you want to remember at what stage a tutor taught a certain thing, you can go back and review that. So that's something fantastic.
And then someone's asking what grades they need to progress to the year one of occupational therapy.
Yeah, so different programs have different pass rates. I believe it's 50% for foundation. When you're in your first year, it may be 40% just for a pass to move across, but we want to do more than a pass. We want to reach for the highest possible grades we can, because not only are you joining as, you know, new students with bright ideas, but also you've got a history of other students that have progressed. And, you know, the last year we've seen a higher percentage of our students getting first class and 2-1s. So we don't want any students dropping records. We want you to do your best and aim for the highest, not just to pass, but to progress.
that said, Toby, I think we still have a 100% progression rate from the health and human science pathway to the various degrees, including occupational therapy. So we really hope you'll be successful. If you're struggling with anything as you go through, there's lots of support available in the college anyway. So all that we would ask is that you reach out to us if you're finding anything particularly difficult. So if that means doing some extra English or some extra maths, then we can always help you with that. So most of our students do pass and progress successfully, but if you are struggling, then do just let us know so that we can work out how best to support you and work with you to achieve success.
Any more questions? Please feel free to use the chat box if you're not feeling confident enough to speak.
How many students in a class? Someone asked.
So the students in the class varies. So we ran some sessions during the pandemic itself. And we obviously, because of social distancing, we were only limited to about 6 in a class. But I believe since lockdown is over, we can have as much as 20 students in some classes. And in some classes, you might only have 3 or 4. It completely depends on the program. But I vary anywhere between 10 and 15, really, just to be safe.
And can I create a bank account if I'm under 18?
Can you create a bank account if you're under 18? Yes, absolutely. Alongside the enrollment letter, which you will get once you've requested it after your registration has been completed, you go there with your bank card and with your passport alongside with your BRP, and yes, you can open a bank account. It's not a problem. There might be some limitations compared to an adult, but yeah, you will still have access to a bank account. Will there be any limitations if not vaccinated? It's advised the students get vaccinated. I think it completely depends on what the government is saying in the UK around vaccination. So that's why it's very important to check up with gov.uk /coronavirus. I will put that into the chat function just to stay up to date with the current changes, because the rules change quite frequently. I don't want to say something that might change tomorrow. May you send us a copy of today's PowerPoint? Absolutely, we'll share a recording, it will be online, and we'll also be sending a pre-departure guide. Where will students stay if they're having quarantine? You can stay in your actual accommodation. So you are able to stay in the accommodation that you've booked during your quarantine. Hope that answers your question, Xin Ying Sang.
Great. So feel free still if you have any final questions, but it looks like we're pretty much there. We really hope you found this useful and interesting, and we really look forward to welcoming you to Plymouth, to Britain's Ocean City in the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, you can see our contact details there on screen. So if after this session is over, you think of any questions you forgot to ask, then please do reach out to any of us and we'll get back to you just as soon as we can. So thank you, everybody. Thanks, Kate and Toby, for joining on the panel. And thank you to all of those who attended. As I say, hope you found it interesting. And we look forward to welcoming you to Plymouth.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. All the best.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.